Hi guys, today I want to start a series called Become an Expert, and these are series of more in-depth overviews of products to achieve the makeup, and it's going to consist in several parts, from face primer to skincare to foundation, everything that has to do with skin and makeup, but in steps. So the first today is foundation. I want to do that, and first of all, there's several types of foundations. There's the liquids, like the one that I use the most, that is Colorstay. It comes in a wide range of colors, and I'm going to go over that. These are long-lasting and liquid. The other kind that I have and I know of is the mousse foundation. There's another kind of liquid, regular foundation out there. There's also the compact foundation powder. There is the cream foundation. And just the powder foundation. There's also the mineral foundation. There's many kinds of, and many brands that carry them, and the stick foundation. Okay, so first, the one that I use the most is Revlon Colorstay. It's very comparable to MAC Studio Fix Fluid, and it comes, as I said, in a very wide range variety of colors, and it has I like the quality of these because it's a long-lasting foundation, and you can build it according to the application in the first place. You can build it thicker or thinner according to your needs. There's also a lighter version, a Revlon Colorstay, and I like using these on brides, quinceañeras, or people that are going to be exposed to, to conditions of the weather, because this really lasts a long time. The downside to it is that it has SPF, and in pictures it might reflect a little bit of the like a whitish cast in some shades, but it's not as bad because this has SPF 6, so it's not a high SPF, so it's not that big of a problem. This one, the Colorstay Active, it does have the 25 SPF, so that's kind of a problem. This Colorstay Revlon foundation, I'm not doing like a review on this, but this is the one that I use the most, and I can mix it in my little mixing palette, and I can get the exact same shade. If I have like an exact shade that I need. If I have Ivory, which is the lowest in the color range, if I have Buff, and I have Cappuccino, I can get any color match. Ivory and Buff are the ones that are like the lightest, and Ivory is cool tone, and Buff is more on the warm side. And this Cappuccino, it's very neutral. It's not very yellowish or warm. It's like neutral. It doesn't tend to be red, doesn't tend to be too warm. So that's in my experience. Also, okay, so that's the basic for this. It can be applied with a brush like this, the 187, or yeah, like this, the dual fiber kind of brush. Can be applied with sponge, can be applied with fingers, can be applied with non-latex sponge. If it's a latex sponge, and I haven't seen them around lately, but the latex sponge, it tends to feel like tacky against the touch with this Colorstay one. So you have to work it out very fast because this thing sets to semi-matte finish. And it's in 2 formulas, oily and dry skin. And it's very good. I really recommend that. But there's plenty in the market, similar liquid foundations. This is the one that, to me, in my opinion, in my experience, I've tried all kinds of liquid foundations, and to me that's the one that lasts the most in a more impeccable form, not turning cakey or oxidizing in people. Studio MAC Studio Fix Fluid oxidizes a lot on my oily skin, so that's a downside for me on that. And also I tend to break out a little bit in some areas with that, so that's why I prefer this one. Okay, so it can be applied buffed, like stippled with any kind of synthetic brush. Can be also applied with a natural bristle brush. This is my fake 109 brush, MAC 109. It's a good one to apply. If you want to thin it out, you can use MAC Fix Plus or any liquid, like medium, to thin out any formula, like MAC Fix Plus. And that's the one that, if I want to thin it out a little bit and avoid the brush to soak in, like to get a lot of the product in and waste, what I do is I just spray on the brush a little bit to get a little bit damp, the same concept as with the sponge. And yeah, I just stipple it on and blend it, and it gives a very nice finish. The other kind of regular liquid foundation, you can find it if you don't need a lot of coverage, you don't need a lot of long-lasting effect. You can use any kind of liquid. This, I'm going to show you the consistency of this. This is really on the thick side. When it's new, it's kind of more liquid. When it's like, when you open up the bottle and it gets in contact with the air, it's much like mascara, but you don't have to throw it every 3 months. It has a shelf life, I think it's 12 months, but you have to not to expose it to the sunlight. And when I was in the summer there in Mexico where I lived in a very hot place in Baja Sur, La Paz. Hi everybody. I used to live there, and I put this in the fridge, and it really felt so good on my skin when I just took it out of the fridge and put it on. So this is on the thicker side. Just on the thicker side, and it gives a lot of coverage. I don't know if you can see. And as you can see now, it is wet and it's shiny, but it's going to set to a semi-matte finish. As soon as you blend it, you get it. The lighter version, which I really love. Sometimes I just put this on and concealer, and it gives me a very beautiful finish. This is on the thicker side in consistency, but doesn't have as much coverage. Doesn't have as much coverage. This kind of liquid and more thin foundations are like, honestly, I don't like using them. I use this kind of foundation only when I'm going to do tutorials. The long-lasting effect is not good. If you cry, you're gonna see the track of a tear. If you set it with, even if you set it with powder, you're gonna see the track of the tear, and that's not good. Not that I want to cry every day, but it's always helpful. If you're gonna get your rain out there, you never know how it's gonna end up. So as you can see, it is more blendable. You have more time to work with it. It has more time to work with it. This is super light. I usually use it for swatches. And it's basically most of these are silicone and water based. Okay, so that's that. the stick foundation. This is an old product, Pan Stick by Max Factor. Studio Stick. Many companies make these, and these are really good for people that just don't need as much concealing power. It is the coverage is high with this, but this specific brand and many of others have an oil base. So if you have oil skin, try to just stay away from these. They can be applied with a sponge, not with the fingers, because I found that I can see the finger prints on my face. But you can use it with a small pore sponge. There's sponges that have like more open pores to them. So the more closed the pores, the better. It looks not as streaky as some others. You can also play with a synthetic brush, with any brush, but I really recommend this to be used with the witch. Okay, moving on, we have the powder foundation. These kind, the packaging states they can be used wet or dry, and it comes with a little sponge that you put in here. It comes with this one. It's the same material as this, so you can wet it, and the more wet the sponge, the least coverage you're gonna get. And this is Infallible by L'Oreal, and it really has a very good coverage. There's some other kinds and some other brands, but the concept is that you apply with the sponge dry or with the sponge damp, and as I said, the more the moisture, the least the coverage you're going to have, because you're going to apply less product. It's not very buildable. It is kind of cakey when you try to build it up, so you really try to master the technique of getting the right amount in the first place. That's what I found with this, but it's the same concept for many others. Yeah, so powder, wet to dry. There's some others, that's the regular powder foundation. People who just don't need a lot of coverage can use a powder, just a foundation, because if you go ahead and put like products like blush, powder blush, or some other color powders on your bare skin, if you have oily areas, and these tend to be here and here, you know, the T-zone, you're not going to be able to get an even coverage or an even application of the color powders. Color powders cling to the oily areas. So that's the downside if you don't use anything on your face and try to put something on. So that having a nice powder is good for you if you don't need coverage at all, and but you want an even application of the other products. You can also apply liquid foundations or creams with this kind of brushes, like Max 190. And this is a low Cornell one that I use a lot with concealer or with foundation for under my eye area, or after applying the eye makeup. You can go over with a little foundation and just pick up all the remaining fallout that you have over there. It's very soft. This is by low Cornell on their very cheapest line, and it's been working good for me, and the angle is very useful for this area. So you can contour the sides of the nose, put a darker shade on your nose, you know, or a lighter shade under your eye, so you can lighten up that area. The cream foundation, it's applied with a sponge. Basically, you can thin this out also. You can dampen this sponge and get a less of a thick application. And this is by Cinema Secret, and this can give you a buildable coverage, and at some point it sets after blending. It's not a long-lasting one, but it's really full coverage, and it can use you can use it as concealer also. It comes in palettes, and it also comes in the little pans. The mousse foundation, I like applying it with a brush, with a stippling brush, or with a 109. That's the way I like applying it. You can use sponges too, but it's kind of weird, the application like that. This is by Rimmel. I'm not a fan of these. They say Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse is better, but I don't know. And last but not least is the mineral foundation. You can find this one. This was the one that started all, but now there's tons, literally hundreds of companies that make mineral makeup. They can send you samples and match you. The idea on this is that these are minerals, natural ingredients, and sometimes I read that it's not that natural in some brands, but minerals that you can basically put your makeup and slip in them because they're minerals and they're natural, and they have no chemicals, no fillers, no anything, so it's a lot of pigmentation. So that's why this little itsy bitsy jar. And also the principle for applying it is about the same in all of them. You put a little bit on the lid or somewhere you can swirl the brush on, and then buff it into your skin. Buff it or just apply it for a lighter application. Remember, for mineral foundation, the lighter the brush, the fluffier the brush, the lighter the application will be. And the flatter and more densely packed the brushes, you're gonna get a more full coverage. I bought these the other day, but it's just too dark for me. I use it as a contour powder now. This is by Wet n Wild. Go figure. And many of these, well, most of the mineral foundations have matching setting powder, and this goes like bound together. There's another one. I have this by Mary Kay. I got it too light also. I don't know why, I'm super light on the neck. And this is a cream one. It's called Full Coverage. I don't like the staying power of it. It's not that good. But again, it's just daily staying home foundation. I'm not gonna go on the heat or anything. I'm gonna wear any liquid that is not too long lasting. It's just gonna be for a little while. I don't wanna go through the hassle of removing this thing because it's hard to remove. So yeah, that's basically the types of foundations that there are. If I'm missing some, just let me know. And there's a spray foundation too. I haven't tried those. You know, Carmen D from What Not to Wear, she made it very famous, the spray foundation, and she has her own line too now by Sally Hansen. So yeah, so I hope you guys find this helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.